to our freaky family. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Kandi.
And this is Sips of Crime. Welcome back, everybody. We're super excited to have you guys back, and we wanted to give a huge shout out to our new Stitcher listeners. We had a huge uptick on that platform here recently, and we also wanted to give a huge shout out to our Virginia listeners, which we also had a huge uptick in. So hello to our neighbors.
Hello, hello.
Yes. So what have you been up to here recently?
Just same old, working and taking care of my toddler, which, let me tell you what he did.
Oh, gosh.
Yesterday, I picked him up early from daycare, and he was playing in his room, broke a glass piggy bank, which is fine. He was just done looking at it, so he literally just tossed it.
Oh, no.
So, I went and got the broom and the dustpan.
So it shatters?
Oh, yeah, it shatters everywhere.
Oh, no.
Well, my mom was there, so she kept him occupied. And so I cleaned it up, make sure all the glass is up and whatnot. And then he wants to sweep him.
He wants to help.
Yeah, and use the dustpan. So I let him use the dustpan and sweep, and he's going in all the rooms. Well, then he's in the hallway, and my husband walks in the door from the day, and he's standing at the bottom of the steps. Well, the dustpan falls down the steps. My toddler points to the dustpan and says, "Shit."
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
Wonder where he heard that from.
I'm not sure.
Not sure where he learned that one?
Oh, no. And I'm trying to tell myself that maybe daycare was telling him to sit all day.
Oh, yeah. We'll go with that story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what you should tell everybody.
So he was saying sit. But no, you definitely heard the S, the H, and the T.
Oh, no.
Like, there was no denying that's what he said. And so I turned around so he wouldn't see me laughing. Then here goes my mom just chuckling away. And I'm like, don't encourage. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. It's such an inappropriate moment to be laughing because you know that you're supposed to be disciplining your child at that moment, but you can't help it.
And he's just now learning to talk.
Right.
So it's not, he says, his animal sounds and stuff like that. And so I wasn't prepared.
Right.
And he said it in like a legit context.
Right, yeah.
Like,
something
right at the dustpan. It was like, shit. I'm like, oh my God.
No. Oh gosh, that is hilarious. Yes. Well.
Like, what have you been up to?
I had a crap week at work. I am actually a manager at a specific institution, and when my boss is gone, I have to take over her job and still do my job.
Oh, so you're two bosses in one.
Yes, and so let's just say that today is actually Friday when we're recording, so I'm just glad that it's Friday and that I have the weekend.
Touche.
Yes.
Touche.
Yes.
Okay, so, back.
Yes, I have something for you.
Okay. Oh, no freaking way! Bones Coffee Red Velvet.
Yes. Okay, so you're going to have to scooch back just a minute here. I found... Okay, obviously this is called Sips of Crime, and we love wine, but me and Kandi are also both a huge coffee fanatic.
Yeah, so if you guys have any recommendations.
Yes.
I mean, I can't drink like a ton of coffee or my anxiety will go out the freaking roof. Oh my God, how much coffee did you buy?
Okay, so I found this coffee company, and I'm sorry, it was just too on brand. Like, it's adorable. It's called Bones Coffee, and I love little boutique, like, coffee companies. Right. Another one that I really, really like is called Coffee Over Cardio.
Yes, I remember you telling me about
They have some really good coffee. And none of this is sponsored, I would like to point out. I will post this on the Instagram, though. And I decided to go ahead and buy a sample pack. So you got 5 coffees. Now, the one that I'm giving you, though, is the Red Velvet, which they launched for Valentine's Day. And it's limited edition, so they're not going to have it anymore. So I went ahead and bought myself, like, a big bag of that. And I decided that I was going to give you that small, so you could try it out. But I also got their French vanilla.
Ooh.
Yes. They have a salty siren, which is a salted caramel.
I bet that one's freaking delicious.
Yeah. A Cinnabon.
No freaking way.
Yes.
I mean, you know I love my cinnamon toast creamer.
Yes.
That is my jam.
And then Jamaican Me Crazy.
That is too cute.
I know. So I will post these on the Instagram, but like I said, I had the red velvet this morning.
Is it delicious?
It's fantastic, and I added some of the Cold Stone Creamery sweet cream creamer. Mm-hmm. Gosh, that's a mouthful.
Oh, yeah.
To it.
Like the liquid one?
Mm-hmm. And it paired very, very well together. So I hope that you enjoy it.
I'm going to drink some in the morning.
Yes.
Yes.
It is so good. And it smells so good roasting, like in the morning. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can smell it through here.
Mm-hmm. Here, you can, I have this one because I made it this morning, so it's open.
My gosh.
Right?
I mean,
to die for.
Like, if I knew it wasn't coffee, I would want to eat it with a spoon.
Yeah. So
cute.
Yes.
I'm super excited. Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Kandi, what are we drinking today?
We are drinking a Childress Muscadine Burst. It is a fruity, fizzy, and fun on the tongue.
On the tongue.
That is literally what it says on the bottle. I'm not making this stuff up, y'all. It's a sweet rosé wine, and it is up there on your sweet scale. They have it as an 8. It says, splash into this free, spirited spritzer with a tantalizing twist. Make your southern soul happy and take a plunge where muscadine meets sunshine.
Woo! And it is fizzy.
Yes, it is, if you can't hear that.
It doesn't appear to be as fizzy as like a champagne, though.
That's very good. It's definitely not super fizzy like champagne, like you just said. And I feel like we've had this from somewhere.
I wish that I could pinpoint.
I mean, we have been to so many vineyards.
Been to a lot of vineyards. And Childress is local to us.
Yes.
So,
I mean, it could have been from there, but I feel like this is one of our, like, vineyard hopping days.
From what I can actually remember from those days. All right, Kandi. Tell me a scary story.
I'm going to tell you about Theodore Robert Cow.
Grab a glass.
Grab a friend.
Let's dive in.
It all starts with Eleanor Louise Cow, who went by Louise. She was 22 years old, and she was unmarried when she had a little boy on November 24th, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont, at a home for unwed mothers. His name was Theodore Robert Cow, but he would be called Ted. And she would later bring him home to her parents in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, it's said that Ted started his life as his mother's secret shame, as his illegitimate birth humiliated her deeply religious parents.
That's awful.
Ted's birth certificate actually lists his father as unknown. Ted's father may have been a man named Lloyd Marshall, who was an Air Force veteran and a Penn State graduate. But theories also say his father could have been a man named Jack Worthington, who Louise says seduced her and then abandoned her once she became pregnant. Or that his father was also his grandfather, Samuel Cow. Ain't that just gross?
Yeah, I hate that.
Ain't that just gross?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. People that knew Samuel Cow say he was a very violent man. He would beat his wife, the family dog, and he would swing neighborhood cats by the tail. He even threw his own daughter, Julia, down the stairs one time for oversleeping. But his father's identity was never confirmed. To hide the fact that he was an illegitimate child, Ted was raised as the adopted son of his grandparents, Samuel and Eleanor Cow, and was told his mother, Louise, was his sister.
God, could you imagine, like, living most of your life thinking that you had a sister?
No, I could not.
And she wasn't your sister?
No. And this whole, even the beginning of this is just totally screwed up.
Oh, yeah, he has no chance.
No
chance of living a normal life and, your
father could be your grandfather, or you were told your mother was your sister, and yeah, it's just doomed from the start. So, in 1950, Louise changed her surname from Cow to Nelson and moved with Ted to Tacoma, Washington. In 1951, a year later, Louise met Johnny Bundy at an adult singles night at a local church. Then another year later, she married Johnny, and this is when Ted was adopted and took the last name Bundy, giving us Ted Bundy.
Bum, bum, bum. Wait a minute. So at this point, he thinks that his sister's husband
has adopted him. So
he still doesn't know that she's his
No.
mom.
No.
Oh.
He thinks it's his sister.
Lord.
So Louise and Johnny had 4 children together, but Ted apparently didn't have much respect for Johnny. He resented him for being too uneducated and working class. So here's a picture of Louise and the children, and over here on the right-hand side looks like that would be Ted.
Gosh, they look like such a normal, like, happy family.
Right. And don't forget that all the pictures that we mention throughout the story or previous episodes, you can find on our Instagram and Facebook at Sips of Crime.
Yeah, they'll be posted before this episode goes live, so you can find all of those there to follow along with us.
From what it appeared, Bundy grew up in a content working-class family. He did, however, show an unusual interest in the disturbing and horrifying involvement with death and injury.
Well, so do we, but...
Oh.
We didn't turn out to be murderers. We're not this bad?
Around the age of 3, he became fascinated by knives. His Aunt Julia tells a story where she woke up and was surrounded by knives that Ted got from the kitchen and had put around her. He was just standing by the bed, smiling at her.
Oh, God.
I mean, I know we're into crime, but I didn't...
At 3?
Right.
Did you say 3 years old?
Around 3 is when he became fascinated by knives.
Oh, my God.
Yes. So, as a teen, a darker side of his character started to emerge. Ted consumed a lot of alcohol and liked to peer into other people's windows to watch women undress or whatever else there was to see, and thought nothing of it when it came to stealing things he wanted. He enjoyed downhill skiing, which he did with stolen equipment and forged lift tickets. He was arrested at least twice on suspicion of burglary and auto theft. When he reached the age of 18, these incidents were expunged from his record.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, so, I'm glad that he's clear.
Here's a picture of Ted, Mr. Bundy.
Mr. Bundy.
When he was in high school. So he's not a bad-looking guy.
He's a handsome guy.
After graduating high school in 1965, Bundy went to attend the University of Puget Sound. Hope I'm saying that right. For 1 year before transferring to the University of Washington in 1967. Unfortunately, he dropped out in 1968. While going to school there, though, he met and fell in love with a pretty young woman from California named Diane Edwards, who went by the alias of Stephanie Brooks. So if you go to Google it, a lot of her information is under Stephanie Brooks, but her real name is Diane Edwards.
I'm assuming because she didn't want to be associated. Like, after everything happened, like, she probably didn't want to be associated
with... I wouldn't.
Gotcha.
Heck no, I wouldn't. She had everything he wanted. The money, the class, the influence, the cars, the great parents. Bundy always felt the need to impress her because he felt as if she was out of his league. After applying to many law schools and failing to get in, Bundy and Diane's relationship dwindled, and they unfortunately broke up. This left Bundy absolutely devastated.
Aww.
It was at this time in 1969 that a family friend believed Bundy visited the Office of Birth Records and confirmed his true parent. Parent. Meaning the person he thought was his sister was actually his mother.
So he finds out?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Now he knows that Louise isn't his sister, it's his mother.
Oh my gosh.
So here is a picture of him and Diane.
Oh wow, her eyes are blacked out.
Every picture I tried to look her up is the one where her eyes have the bar across them.
All of them.
So I don't know if it's like, hey, she did it or, you know, what, but there was no picture of just her face that I could find.
Yeah.
So in 1969, he went back to the University of Washington. He met Elizabeth, forgive me because I'm going to butcher this name. It's Elizabeth Clofer.
That's what I would say, Clofer, yeah.
And she was a divorcee from Ogden, Utah, working as a secretary at the university while raising a 2-year-old daughter. They began dating while he majored in psychology. He was an honor student and well regarded by his professors. In 1971, he took a job at Seattle's Suicide Hotline Crisis Center.
Oh, good. I'm glad he did that.
Right.
He's perfect for that job.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you just wait. Just wait. There he met and worked with Anne Rule, who was a former police officer and aspiring crime writer. She actually would eventually write a biography on him called The Stranger Beside Me. He eventually graduated from the University of Washington in 1972 with a degree in psychology. Here is a picture of him and Elizabeth.
Okay. They look so cute and cozy together.
Right, like your normal college
next
kids.
to the fireplace. Young.
After Bundy and Diane split, he made it a mission to reconnect with Diane, and he had a plan for revenge. During a trip to California in 1973, 4 years after Diane and Bundy split, they briefly rekindled their relationship. He continued to date both Elizabeth and Diane. Neither was aware of the other's existence.
Who has time for that?
I mean, yeah, completely agree. I ain't entertaining nothing else.
No, I have I barely have enough
but
time
how
for
do
my
you not
own
know
husband.
about the other person? I mean, I get it. It was 1973, 1974. But how do you not know?
I feel like it's even easier to cheat today, though, because you have, like, cell phones and you have, like...
Social media.
Yeah. That you can, like, but, like, back in the day, like, it was legitimate, like...
How do you not know?
How do you not know?
Often, Bundy and Diane spoke of marriage, but in the end, however, in 1974, Bundy suddenly broke off all contact. Phone calls and letters went unreturned until about a month later, Diane finally reached him. She demanded to know why he ended their relationship without an explanation. He calmly said, "I have no idea what you're talking about," and hung up.
So we're just going to gaslight at this point.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, completely. He literally did not talk to her and then said he had no idea what she's talking about and hung up on her.
After leading her on for all that time.
Never to hear from him again. He stated he really just wanted to lead her on, and the plan was to dump her like she did him. He also stated he wanted to prove to himself that he could have married her.
What an ass!
By this time, Bundy had returned to college and worked in Olympia as the assistant director of the Seattle Crime Prevention Advisory Commission.
Perfect. I couldn't think of a better job for him.
He wrote a pamphlet for women on rape prevention.
No, he did not.
Yes, he freaking did.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
You're lying to me.
No, ma'am.
Oh, my God.
Oh, just wait.
That is so creepy.
Just wait till I tell you about his next job.
Oh, God.
He began skipping classes at law school, and then by April, he dropped out again. So this is the second time he's dropped out. Right around this time, when he dropped out, is when young women started to disappear. During the first half of 1974, female college students were disappearing at a rate of about 1 per month.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Once a month?
1 per month. And this is where things start to take a turn. So if you would like to pick up your glass and take a big fat drink,
Let me fill it up.
I would do so.
Let's fill it up. Okay, I'm ready.
Are you sure? Shortly after midnight on January 4th, 1974, which again, this is around the time that Bundy terminated his relationship with Diane, Bundy entered the basement apartment of an 18-year-old Karen Sparks, a dancer and student at UW. After he bludgeoned Sparks senseless with a metal rod from her bed frame, he sexually assaulted her with either the same rod or a metal speculum.
Oh my God.
This caused extensive internal injuries, and Sparks remained unconscious for 10 days. But Sparks actually survived with permanent physical and mental disabilities.
Oh my God.
I couldn't imagine.
And she was a dancer?
Yes, she was a dancer, and she was a dancer, and she was 18. And you don't know if mentally she remembers it. Like, she might have mental disabilities, but that don't mean that don't replay in her head.
Absolutely.
How awful.
Oh my God.
In the early morning hours of February 1st, 1974, Bundy broke into the basement room of Linda Ann Healy, age 21, an undergrad at UW who broadcast morning radio reports for skiers. He beat her unconscious, dressed her in blue jeans, a white blouse, and boots, and then carried her away.
Wait, so you're telling me he beat her unconscious and then dressed her?
Yep, dressed her in blue jeans and a white blouse and her boots. So on March 12th, 1974, Donna Gail Manson, a 19-year-old student at Evergreen College in Olympia, 60 miles southwest of Seattle, was leaving her dorm to attend a jazz concert on campus, but she never arrived, and her body was never discovered. On April 17th, 1974, Susan Elaine Raincourt, age 18, disappeared while on her way to her dorm after an evening advisors meeting at Central Washington State College in Ellensburg, which is 100 miles southeast of Seattle. He claimed to have raped her, killed her at Taylor Mountain, which we'll later revisit.
Oh, Lord.
On this night of Raincourt's disappearance, a female student came forward to report an encounter of a man wearing an arm sling, asking for help carrying a load of books to his brown or tan Volkswagen Beetle. Another female student reported having the same encounter 3 days before. On May 6th, Roberta Kathleen Parks, age 20, left her dorm to go have coffee with her friends and never arrived. On June 1st, Brenda Carol Ball, age 22, disappeared after leaving the Flame Tavern. She was seen in the parking lot talking to a brown-haired man with his arm in a sling. Her skull was later found at Taylor Mountain. And all by telling these month-to-month stories, he's doing his normal. He's going to work. He's with Elizabeth, doing his normal life.
I think that is what makes these people, even more scary.
Right.
Is that they're living normal lives and they're interacting with people every single day. Mm-hmm. You have absolutely no idea of this, double life that they're living and this mindset that they're in. Nobody knows. Mm-mm. And, I can't help but think that that's a catalyst towards his ultimate downfall, is that he, in his mind, he has to keep up these appearances, but then he's also struggling with this demon that is constantly coming out in him that nobody knows about. He can't talk about it. He's not, and he's acting upon these things. And I think that is the most terrifying.
How do you go home to your girlfriend?
Exactly. How do you go to work
and act like you just didn't,
murder somebody 2 days ago? That's the scariest part, I think, about these serial killers
And when I researched it and read so many, articles on articles on articles and stories and news briefings and everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing that talks about what he does in between all this, other than him living his normal life.
Right. You can't help but think that he's just going about his daily routines, just like you and I would every morning.
Right.
How many people do you think that you encounter on a normal basis, a day-to-day basis, that might be psychopaths?
Well, as of right now, I work from home, so let's not.
So the number has been drastically reduced.
Let's freaking hope so, because if not, it's my husband.
It's my husband. But just going to Food Lion. Think of how
I went to Dollar General before I got here.
Oh, that's your hub right there. Just think about how many people you pass, though, on a daily basis.
I'd rather not, because my anxiety is going to go skyrocket, and I have to return to work, and I'm not going to want to now. In the early hours of June 11th, UW student Georgianne Hawkins, age 18, vanished while walking down a brightly lit alley between her boyfriend's dorm and her sorority house. Bundy had lured her in his car, knocked her unconscious with a crowbar. He then handcuffed her. Driving 20 miles east of Seattle, he then stopped and strangled her, but spent the entire night with her body.
He spent the entire night with her body?
Yes.
Oh, that's...
how...
disturbing.
All of this is disturbing.
It is, you're right, but it's...
But to spend the night with a dead body?
it's even worse. Yeah, like, that's even more messed up than just, like...
killing them, dropping off.
Right, and, like,
yeah.
oh, God.
So, on July 14th, 1974, Janice Ott, who was 23, and Denise Nashland, who was 19, two college students vanished from Lake Sashimi? Sammamish? Hold, please.
Hold, please. Sammamish. Okay, that kind of makes sense.
Sammamish. Okay.
May or may not be correct, but that sounds better.
Okay, so.
That's what we're going to go with.
From Lake Sammamish State Park, within a 3-hour time frame. Witnesses recall a young man with his arm in a sling asking the women for help carrying his boat. Their bodies were discovered the following September. During the time these women were missing, he changed his job and began working at the Department of Emergency Services. Go ahead and take a drink for this next sentence.
Oh, Lord. Okay, hold on.
An agency involved in the search for missing women.
He was, like, part of... Do you know if that specific agency ever looked for any of his victims? Oh, my God.
I do not.
That's still so messed up.
Here, he met and dated Carol Ann Boone. She was twice divorced and a mother of 2 children. All again, while still dating Elizabeth.
Oh, my gosh. How does he have all this time on his hands to entertain all of these women?
Well, him and Diana broke up now.
Well, no, I know, but he's still with...
But Elizabeth just, I guess, sticks around and he's able to do whatever. So here's a picture of him and Carol and her daughter.
Okay, so that's Carol and his daughter and her daughter.
Yes.
She is so cute. I mean, she's kind of blurred out in this picture, I'm assuming for identity reasons, but it looks like she's kind of wearing like a made school, like, little hat.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty adorable.
And there's a bunch of pictures with Carol, and I just chose one. Mm-hmm. So this could be one later on down the road. This could be one at the beginning.
She's so 70s, too, with her glasses.
Oh, yeah. And so this could be like a school play
or something
like that.
Yes, a school play. That's exactly what I feel like this looks like. And he looks so happy.
Oh, yeah, he looks...
It kills me.
Freaking thrilled. In late 1974, Bundy moved to Salt Lake City to enroll in the University of Utah Law School.
Again.
1 month later, young women started to disappear in this area. So on October 2nd, 1974, 16-year-old Nancy Wilcox left her home to go buy a pack of gum. A few people nearby claimed to have spotted her in the passenger seat of a yellow Volkswagen Bug shortly after she left. This would be the last time anyone ever saw Nancy. It's unclear how quickly she was reported missing because apparently authorities didn't take her disappearance seriously. They actually considered her a runaway from the get-go. Like, how do you just assume someone's a runaway?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, what would give them the reason?
Unless they're, like, a troublemaking kid or something like that. But still, I don't feel like anyone should play that.
No, I mean, if you have loved ones that are going to the police saying, hey, this is out of character for this person. And I feel like this happens far too often. These women who are abducted or who are trafficked, you know, they're always reported as runaways by the police officers. And I never want to discredit our police force because, I mean, there are, legitimate police officers out there who do their due diligence.
And there's legitimate people that will run away.
Police officers out there who do take, family members seriously. And there are police officers who are out there who do legitimately look into these cases. But I just feel like far too many of the cases that we cover end up with these women missing for a terrible reason, like Ted Bundy, who are ultimately just like, oh, well, yeah, she's gone and she probably ran away. Like, that's the police's go-to.
Right.
And that's awful, because if they just utilize the time and resources to actually look into this and take the people who are reporting this seriously, these girls might be found a lot sooner than they actually are.
Oh, completely agree. And they say it was clear that she planned to return after an errand because she left behind all her belongings.
So if you're going to run away, why would you not take your things?
Right. And it was the stuff that was super important to her, like some jewelry. She had a happy life, and there was no reason for her to run away, says another report.
It's ridiculous.
On October 18th, Melissa Smith met her dad, who was a police chief, at a pizza place. She was getting permission to stay the night with some friends. She was at the pizza place. There's two different stories that I read. Mm-hmm. So she was at the pizza place either with her friend or with her father. Mm-hmm. Her father, the story about her father, she was getting permission to stay the night at the sleepover. Mm-hmm. And then there's a story that she was there with her friend, comforting her after a breakup. And then she had plans to sleep over. Both stories say that she had plans to sleep over at a friend's house.
Planning on going to that person's house.
Right. She left the pizza place to grab clothes from home for the sleepover, but never made it home or to the sleepover.
She never made it back to her house to get her clothes?
Nope, and never made it to the sleepover. On November 8th, 1974, Carol DeRanch was leaving the mall in Murray, Utah, when she was approached by a man who said his name was Officer Roseland and proceeded to tell her a false story that someone had tried to break into her car. Carol agreed to go down to the police station and to file a report. Very quickly, things started to not add up to her. The officer tried to handcuff her in the car, but accidentally put both cuffs on one wrist.
How clumsy do you have to be?
Right.
On the same wrist?
On the same wrist.
She must have been putting up a struggle. Good for her.
It doesn't say, but Carol was able to escape the car and get away.
Good for her. I like Carol.
Then, in December of 1974, Bundy's girlfriend Elizabeth started to put pieces together when a profile was put out for the serial killer in the newspaper.
Oh, so she's getting suspicious.
She realized the young women were disappearing wherever he went.
Wherever he went.
Though she couldn't confirm anything, she did report Bundy to the police multiple times during 1974. Once in August, November, and December. So you have 3 different times
that she's saying, hey, this might be your guy.
Yeah.
And they do nothing? Nothing.
So, August 1975, Bundy was spotted driving around in a Salt Lake City suburb early in the morning and was pulled over. However, even though the officer searched his car, finding many suspicious items like a ski mask, handcuffs, and other things
in his possession.
In his car. Yep. The officer didn't have enough to hold him, so he had to release Bundy.
How is that not enough to hold you?
I guess you can just carry handcuffs in your car for no reason.
Can you? Let us know.
I don't know. I don't carry handcuffs in my car. Even out of police custody, they were still highly suspicious of Bundy.
Oh, good. At least somebody was.
It was only at this point did they really start even looking at the evidence they had, leading them to piece together that Bundy definitely had something to do with the missing women across the Midwest.
So they're just now putting together all of these murders. Like, they're just now starting to link.
Yeah, like Elizabeth's calling, all these people missing.
Everybody's kind of, like, they're finally piecing together.
Yeah, being serious. Like, okay, this woman that called in, like, she's being serious. Mm-hmm. It's not just...
And all of these, like, murders might be the same person.
Yeah.
Okay.
A few months later, in September of 1975, Bundy sold his car, but soon the police seized the car from the new buyer. Inside, they found hair that could be traced back to multiple women. The following October, Bundy was put in a lineup, and Carol DeRanch, the one who escaped,
yes,
identified him.
Good for her.
He was arrested and put in jail, but eventually got out on bail.
No.
Of course he did. You know, they give bail for stupid crap. In February of the next year, in 1976, Bundy stood trial for the kidnapping of Carol, and he was actually found guilty. he was sentenced to serve from 1 to 15 years in the Utah State Prison.
Just for kidnapping.
Just for the kidnapping. Just for Carol.
Mm-hmm.
While in jail, he was charged with the murder of Karen Campbell, which we hadn't mentioned, but we will later,
Mm-hmm.
and was later transferred to the prison in Aspen, Colorado. The next year, in 1977, Bundy was transferred to a courthouse for a hearing. He was serving as his own attorney, and during recess, asked to visit the library to research his case.
Because of all of the times that he graduated law school.
Right. So, let's be our own attorney and go research our case.
Even though we've never actually completed law school.
Yes. Let me drink to this next bit of information I'm about to share with you. So, he's in the library researching his case. There, he hid behind a bookcase, climbed out a window, jumped from the second story of the building, and escaped.
No, he did not.
He broke his ankle in the fall.
Oh.
But that did not stop him one bit from making it past the courthouse roadblocks and into the woods for 6 days.
No.
How do you make it through the court? How do you escape court and make it through?
Nobody
notices?
Nobody sees you jump out this window at a courthouse?
Nobody sees you running?
To the woods?
I swear to God, if you're at the courthouse and you see somebody running, I feel like that's automatic stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Why are you running?
Why are you going? Where are you going?
Where are you going? Why are you running? Hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come back.
Nobody saw this. That's what
Apparently
you're
not.
telling me right now.
Apparently, no one stopped him.
And he was in the woods for 6 days.
Yep. He then stole a car,
Oh, of course he did.
broke into a camping trailer for
course
some
he did.
supplies. But then, 2 officers spotted him and arrested him.
Oh, good.
Back to jail Bundy went.
Oh, Lord.
During December of that year, Bundy managed to get a map of the jail and climbed through a hole in his ceiling into the room above where he changed into his street clothes and literally walked out the front door of the jail. No one even realized he was gone till the next day.
The whole... Don't they do, like, a head count?
I don't know, I've never been to jail.
Oh, my God.
But I'm sorry. The man escaped.
Yeah.
From his trial.
Right.
There should be like a red flag or...
Yeah, you put, like, a... You put some sort of flag on that person.
Right. Like...
You tell
hello,
everybody...
Caution.
Right. You tell
escapee on our hands.
everybody that he's associated with, including the people at the jail, hey, this guy's already escaped once. No. Okay, more wine.
And you walk out the front door.
With nobody noticing that you're gone.
Nobody even... Till the next day? I'm sorry, but if you work at the jail, I feel like, for the most part, you should know who's in there. I get that jail has hundreds of people.
Yeah, but that's kind of part of your job description.
So, now that Bundy was a free man, he hitchhiked and caught a bus to Denver, took a flight to Chicago, a train to Ann Arbor, where he then steals a car and drives to Atlanta. Once in Atlanta, he takes a bus to Tallahassee, Florida. This man is in 5 different places, and ain't nobody caught him.
And he bought 5 different tickets.
And ain't nobody caught his ass.
Nobody's noticed.
Come on now.
Did they not put like an APB out on? What's an APB? Hold, please. So an APB is an acronym that stands for All Points Bulletin. It's a message that's sent out to alert law enforcement officials to be on the lookout for an individual, such as a suspect, or something such as a vehicle in connection with a crime. So they didn't send out an APB?
I guess not.
Lord have mercy.
Which you would think they would. Maybe they did and nobody caught him. I don't know. On January 5th, 1978...
Where has he made it to at this point?
So he's in Florida.
Okay.
And on January 5th, 1978, barely 1 week after arriving in Florida, Bundy broke into a sorority house where he killed 2 young women while they slept by bludgeoning them and strangling them.
Oh my God.
He attacked 2 more and then another outside of the sorority house, but she actually survived. Fearing that the authorities were closing in on him, he left Tallahassee on February 12th and was pulled over after the car he was driving identified as stolen. Again, Bundy was arrested in June of 1979. Bundy goes to trial again for the sorority house incident in Florida. He was convicted of 2 counts of murder, 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and 2 counts of burglary. He was given the death penalty for the murders and convictions. By this time, Bundy was a household name, and his Florida trial was the first one to ever be televised.
Oh my god! So like everybody knows who this guy is.
Oh
at this
yeah,
point.
by now everybody knows who Bundy is. They're watching his trial on TV. You know, it's a big thing.
Oh my god!
There was another trial that took place in Florida for another murder he committed, and during this trial, Bundy got married.
What?
Yes.
While he was on trial?
He got married.
Was he in prison?
Yes.
Huh.
To his longtime girlfriend, Carol Ann Boone.
Not Carol!
She was testifying on his behalf when Bundy asked her to marry him. She, of course, said yes on February 9th.
Carol!
Then on February 10th, 1980, Bundy was sentenced again for the kidnapping and killing of Kimberly Leach. His sentencing was death by electrocution. Here's a picture of Bundy waving.
Waving, hey!
In trial. Like,
That's
yeah.
great.
Hi, it was me.
So nonchalant.
Right? He does not care. You
Not
can tell by his face. He does
not
not
at
care.
all.
In 1982, Carol gives birth to a daughter that she claimed was Bundy's, assuming a conjugal visit took place since he was in jail. But the daughter's paternity was never confirmed.
Okay, so I actually read something about this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a possibility that if the conjugal visit didn't happen,
Yeah.
that he ejaculated into a condom
No freaking way.
and then sent it to her, where I'm assuming that she
took a freaking
used a turkey
baster.
baster.
That's so funny.
But apparently that theory is based on the fact that, like, he wanted offspring.
You shouldn't have any offspring.
No, I completely agree, but I'm just saying...
I mean, I didn't know that, so that's freaking crazy.
It's just a story that I heard. There is no evidence or research to back it up, but that is one of the theories that is out there, that he sent his sperm to her and she was able to impregnate herself, utilizing it to produce offspring.
Doesn't sperm die in like 5 days?
Well, I mean, again, it's the 1970s, so, I mean, who knows how long it, I mean, she might have just been able to come and pick it up. I don't know. I think
Delivery for Carol.
I think... I can't.
Amazon Prime.
Oh, my God.
2-day delivery.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
God. So, yeah, I can't, I'm just telling you, again, no evidence, no research to back that up. I'm just telling you that I read that
I
somewhere.
want to have his kid.
What I did read was that he really wanted to confirm, like, he wanted to make sure that he had offspring.
Yeah, so probably
And
they
she
would
was-
lose their shit and kill people too.
She was game. Like, she
Of course she was.
really wanted to make sure that he had offspring too, so she, participated in this. Now, that's, again, just what I read. Complete speculation. No research to back it up. Just wanted to throw that out there. Drink.
Yeah, because well. 2 years later, it's not funny.
It's a little funny.
2 years later, in 1984, prison guards at the Florida State Prison discovered Bundy had sawed through the bars on his window at an attempt to escape. Later, they also found mirrors in his cell, and he was relocated.
What?
I don't know what the mirrors signified. I don't know if he wasn't allowed to have them or what.
Well, I'm assuming he wasn't allowed to have them, but...
I tried to look it up, and maybe I just wasn't successful on my search, but I couldn't find anything that...
signified why they're...
the mirrors had anything to do with it, but...
But he did saw through.
Right. Through the bars of his window.
Okay.
So, he was relocated.
Mm-hmm.
He never successfully escaped again, but he certainly tried numerous times.
Lord.
Bundy was coming to the realization that this was the end of the line for him. Over the next few years, Bundy began confessing to many crimes to anyone who would listen. He actually admitted that he was in fact a huge necrophiliac, which those who don't know what that means is someone who is sexually excited by or attracted to dead bodies. He claimed to revisit the place where he kept the victims' bodies, which was Taylor Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
When revisiting them, Bundy would groom the bodies, as in putting makeup on them, brushing their hair, just grooming them, and then would perform sexual acts with the dead women. He would do this to their corpses, but only would he stop doing it when the decomposing corpses had already been ravaged by the animals. And then, if they hadn't been ravaged by animals, he was doing it till he just couldn't anymore. Till they had just decomposed.
Too far. Oh, God.
So that's pretty disgusting. Yeah. Makes me want to throw up.
Agreed.
Between 1984 and 1989, Bundy talked to different authors, special agents, FBI, and detectives.
So he's just letting it fly at this point.
Oh, yeah, because, he's on death row.
Yeah.
Or death by electrocution.
What does he have to lose?
Right. So, here's a list of the women he admitted to or was suspected throughout the years of 1973 and 1978. Some we already mentioned, so I'll try not to repeat them, but there's literally so many.
And I think that it's important that we go through this list because, again, we really try to focus on the victims as much as we possibly can, and I feel like not mentioning everybody involved would not do the story justice.
Right. And it is long. It is. And I don't tell you all the details because if I did, we would be here for like a whole extra hour.
Right.
And these are just the ones that he admitted to or supposedly was suspected of. Not even the ones that
might have went unsolved.
Right. That went missing and nobody really knows.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Rita Lorraine Jolly, who was 17, vanished from West Lynn in June 1973, and her body was never found. You have Janice Ott and Denise Nashland, who were the ones that were kidnapped. But it is said also that Bundy stated Ott was still alive when he kidnapped Nashland. He claimed one was forced to watch as he murdered the other. Yeah. And there was only 2 stories, I think it was 2, that I had read that had that same information, that one had to watch the other. Then you had Vicki Lynn Holler, who disappeared from Eugene in August 1973. Her body also was never found. Nancy Wilcox, she was the cheerleader who was last seen. It also said in another article, he stated she was never in his car, but he abducted her by knife point, sexually assaulted her in a nearby orchard, and also strangled her. He then said he buried her body near Capitol Reed National Park, over 200 miles from where she disappeared. But like I said, her body was never found. God. Melissa Smith, she was the one that was at the pizza restaurant that never showed up to the sleepover or to get her clothes. Her bludgeoned body was found 9 days later on October 27th. She went missing on October 19th. And she was found by some deer hunters. Her head had been severely beaten, perhaps by a crowbar. She had been strangled, raped, and sodomized. Lauren Ann Aim, 17, who disappeared on October 31st, 1974. Her body was found that November in a canyon between Salt Lake City and Provo. Her body was found the same way as Melissa Smith's, the one we just mentioned. Debbie Kent, who was 17, disappeared November 8th, 1974, when she left a high school play in Salt Lake City to pick up her brother. That was really all the information I could find about her. And then again, I didn't look at everyone.
Right.
Because it would have just took forever.
Yeah, I completely understand.
Karen Campbell, she was 24, a nurse from Michigan, who was vacationing in Aspen and disappeared January 12th, 1975, from Wildwood Lodge near Snowmass. Her body was found 5 weeks later. Julia Cunningham, 26, a ski shop employee, disappeared on March 15th, 1975. Denise Lynn Oliverson, 24, of Grand Junction, disappeared April 6, 1975, while riding her bicycle near her home. Melanie Susie Cooley, 18, disappeared April 15, 1975, in Nederland. Her body was found May 3rd in Coal Creek Canyon. Bundy confessed to killing 2 people in Idaho. Authorities had never previously linked him to any killings in the state, but said they were reasonably certain Bundy abducted Lynette Culver, who was 12, from her junior high school on May 6, 1975, killed her. Her body was never found. Shelley Robertson, 24, disappeared June 30th, 1975, and her body was found in Berthoud, Mass mine shaft. Debbie Smith, 17, whose body was found April 1st in 1976 near the Salt Lake City airport. Margaret Bowman, 21, and Jeanette Lisa Levy, 20, were bludgeoned and strangled January 15th, 1978 at the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University. Kimberly Leach, who was 12, disappeared on February 9th, 1978 from her junior high school. Her strangled body was found in an abandoned pigsty in April 1978, 32 miles west of Lake City. Bundy was convicted of rape and murder in her death. Bundy denied 5 other cases of women disappearing, but authorities believe he did a lot more than he admitted. And here's a little collage of some of the women that he did confess to.
So, do we know the age of his youngest victim? Was it 12?
As of now, yes.
Yeah.
Which was Kimberly Leach.
Wow. That's heavy.
It is. It very much is.
You're right, though. I mean, all of these women.
All of them.
Long brown hair.
Dark hair.
Yeah.
All of them.
Very similar.
Your younger, younger adult ages.
Yeah, he definitely had a vendetta. God, that's terrible.
At 7:16 a.m. on January 24th, 1989, Ted Bundy was 42 years old and was put into the electric chair. Carolyn Bundy actually had a falling out, and she refused to speak to him the morning he was executed. Bundy was then electrocuted, and he died.
Oh.
I know. Everybody shed a little tear. You did some awful things. So, during my research, I asked myself some questions.
Sure.
One of them was, did Elizabeth know about Carol?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. She did.
What?
Yep. She did find out about Carol, and she stated she was glad it was her saying I do. She felt like Carol was going to be roped in as she was and was going to be used like she was, and stated it won't end well for her.
Smart girl.
Then I asked, where was Bundy's mom through all this?
Oh my gosh, you're right. I didn't even think about
Where's
that.
Where's his mom?
What is she doing?
She worked as an administrative job at the University of Puget Sound, which was the first university he went to.
Yeah.
Which is, when he decided to begin his life as a rapist and murderer.
Mm-hmm.
She actually stood by her son and made statements after his confessions like, quote, Ted Bundy does not go around killing women and children. I resent the fact that everyone in Tacoma thinks that just because we lived here, that he killed that girl way back when he was 14. I'm sure he didn't, unquote.
When he was 14.
So there's a possibility he murdered someone when he was 14. And she knew about it.
And not only has he admitted to all of these other murders, she's still gonna stand by her son.
Yep.
Okay.
And even says way back when he was 14. I'm sure he didn't.
What happened when he was 14?
Right. So you knew something went down?
Yeah. And you just
dismissed it?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Lord have mercy.
She also said that her never-ending faith in Ted and her faith that he was innocent has never wavered and never will.
Even though he admitted to it.
Yep. She described him as the best son in the world, thoughtful, responsible, and fond of his siblings.
Mm-hmm.
On the day of his execution, it's reported that she talked to Bundy twice and told him, quote, "You'll always be my precious son," unquote. Louise died December of 2012. She was 88 years old, 23 years after his execution in 1989. Some weird facts about Mr. Bundy.
I'm ready.
I mean, they're not, like, totally weird, but they
No,
are
I
weird.
need more wine. Hold on.
So he spent 10 years on death row.
Wow.
Fair.
I am going to do some research as to why death row inmates take so long to actually be executed.
I would like to know that info.
And then I will report back because
Yes.
I have every intention of finding out a reason. There has to be something out there that like
Right.
tells us the answer because there's no, I mean,
Something.
it just gives them more time to appeal and more time to throw all this stuff back into the court
It's
system.
not like they're going to go back to court, though.
They can still appeal something though.
Yeah, you can appeal it, but you can't
If
be
the
tried
appeal is
twice.
granted, they get a new trial though.
That's ridiculous. He inspired the movie Silence of the Lambs.
I did not know that.
I did not either.
Have you seen that?
I feel like, I know I saw it when I was like in middle school,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't seen it lately.
I feel like I need to go and rewatch it.
Right,
now.
like I totally need to rewatch it. because I
knowing
couldn't
what
tell
we know
you.
now.
Yeah, but and I totally couldn't tell you what it's about now.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
at all. In one of the trials, Bundy admitted to taking photos of his victims' corpses and decapitating 12 of his victims' heads, keeping them as souvenirs and a reminder of his, quote, hard work, unquote.
Oh, good.
So, where the fudge did you keep your heads?
I was just about to ask you, where were they?
I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to...
I'm assuming they were never found.
And I'm wondering if those are the women's bodies that were never found.
Right. Like, what
I
did
mean,
you...
there was way more than 12, but...
What did you do with the rest of them?
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
Bundy's Volkswagen Bug sits on display today at the Crime Museum of Alcatraz East.
Okay, so the Alcatraz East Crime Museum is in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and we're going to go there.
Yes.
We're going to go there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And to give you a little thing to be prepared for when we do see it, you can see in his Volkswagen Bug that he has the passenger seat taken out so he can tie his victims up and lay them flat.
Have
and
plenty of room.
Yep, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh. We're going to go there.
Yes. Bundy apparently could have avoided the death sentence because authorities offered him a plea bargain of 75 years if he confessed to just 4 of the murders. He rejected and opted for the electrical chair.
What?
Of course, he also could have just denied everything.
Yeah.
But yeah. He chose the electric chair.
Good. Okay.
Last but not least, there were some contractors in September of 2016, so not long ago.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing a remodeling job for the Bundy's childhood home. They claimed during the working hours they could hear knocking on the doors, jingling of the doorknobs inside the house. They were the only ones said to be there. In the 7 months of remodeling, the contractors claimed at least 30 strange occurrences, even saying they found notes written in the basement dirt and sawdust that read, "Help me," and leave.
Oh, God. I don't like it. So is childhood home?
Yep, so it could be Bundy.
Is haunted?
I mean, I doubt it's Bundy saying freaking help me unless he's burning in hell.
Which is exactly where he needs to be.
But, or, him telling them to leave because,
oh my God.
But you never know. So that, you guys, is the story of Bundy. There is a comment on our Facebook page of Sips of Crime that a fellow listener actually has an entire website dedicated to Ted Bundy. So E.J. Hammond is actually also writing a book about people who survived and contained/caught him. You can keep an eye out for that. But E.J. Hammond's website is BundyPile, BundyPhile.com, and it's literally all about Bundy.
Yeah, she really covers a ton of amazing information, really in-depth history, and she's really done her research on this.
Yes.
So we applaud her 100%, and we really appreciate her support and her listening. So definitely go and check that out.
Yes, and there's even a little thing scrolling through here now. 5 Forensics First, inspired by Ted Bundy's killings. Bundy's case represented both the first time bite mark evidence was used in court and the first time a search warrant was approved for a suspect's mouth.
Yeah. So
she has probably a lot more information than maybe we covered, or maybe we didn't even see.
Have time to cover either. I mean, this is something, this is something that she's really dedicated a lot of her time to, and you guys will definitely be able to kind of dig deeper from what we were able to share in our limited time with you guys, whereas she has really been able to, expand on a lot of the information. So definitely go and check her out.
All right, so to lighten the mood, we have a listener's tale.
Oh, yay! So she says, "Hi, friends. My name is Melanie, pronounced me. I would just like to point out that we actually really appreciate the pronunciation because if you've heard any of our episodes,
some names.
We butcher some names.
And we don't mean to, you guys. We really
Not
don't.
At all.
So if we do butcher your names, just going ahead and apologizing ahead of time.
Yes.
But thank you, Melanie.
Yes. Melanie says, "I'm kind of obsessed with all things spooky and paranormal. This particular story takes place in Williamsburg, Virginia, and centers around the story of Lady Skipworth. Legend goes she was at a party wearing red shoes, and when she saw her husband cheating on her with another woman, in a fit of rage and hurt, she ran home and lost one of her shoes. The next day, she was found dead in her home. Students who go to William and Mary University say that if you go and knock on the front door, letting her know you have her red shoe, creepy things will happen. So anywho, my friend, at least at the time, and I were on a ghost tour standing outside of Lady Skipworth's house, with our tour guide telling us the story. Suddenly, I felt something around my neck. I started to scratch at it because I don't like things around my neck. Fear of dying and whatnot."
I mean, yeah.
Same, girl. Same.
Not to change the subject, but some people like that kind of crap. Don't do that to me.
No, please don't.
I'm gonna freak out.
Don't check me.
I'm going to freak out. Don't do that to me. Okay.
And it felt as if something was tightening quickly. I began to have trouble breathing and could not get my friend's attention, or anyone's attention for that matter, no matter how hard I tried. The tour guide mentioned that one of the legends is she killed herself, and I heard a female laugh right beside me.
Oh my God.
The laugh was cold and empty, and the best part, there was no one next to me. At this point, I started coughing due to trying to breathe. I guess the group started moving, and I didn't because my friend grabbed my hand and pulled me away from the house to follow the group. Instantly, I could breathe again. I went to our tour guide and I said, "You never said how the legend said she killed herself." He looked at me, shrugged, and says, "The legend says that she hung herself." So yeah, that's the story of how I know what it feels like to have a noose around my neck.
Holy cow. I mean, I'm sitting here, like, grabbing my lip the entire time that you're telling this story.
Edge of our seats. This is one of many stories I have, from being called a bitch via spirit box to having a ghost tell me to kill myself via EVP.
Please send us more stories.
Melanie,
I'm so interested.
Send us more stories. That was
Holy cow.
intense.
That's flipping crazy.
And it was really well written.
Yes.
So, anyway, again, thank you so much. Please send in all of your spooky or personal true crime stories. You are more than welcome to stay anonymous. We would love to share them on our podcast and eventually dedicate an entire episode to just your listeners' tales. You can join our freaky little family both on Instagram and Facebook and find all of the featured photos from this episode
at Sips of Crime.
For a chance to have your story featured on one of our future episodes, send us a Gmail
to sipsofcrime@gmail.com.
And you can find all of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate you giving us a 5-star review because it really helps other people find our podcasts and our episodes. Thanks for listening. Stay alive.